Districts are huge depositories of identity and personal information on our children. Some districts around the country have been hacked, and the kids are left to suffer once identity thieves get their information. My next guest has more details. And joining us on The Factor Uncensored tonight, we have with us Doug Levin, who's the National Director of K-12 Security Information Exchange. Glad to have you here. I heard a recent report that indicated where you guys said students are often valuable targets for identity thieves out there. Explain that to us.
Sure. I think it's going to be counterintuitive to a lot of folks because, of course, young students, young children don't have bank accounts or credit cards or lots of money to their name. But what they have is a pristine identity information. Identity thieves find that extremely valuable because they can abuse that identity information for years and years before it comes to light. And for you and I,
years and years because that child is not using their social security number to apply for credit, to apply for a loan.
That's exactly right. For you and I, we have our credit card company or a bank looking out for us. And you've probably gotten these notices. I have from my bank. It says, hey, this charge looks funny. Did you make it? Unfortunately, too often the answer is no, I didn't make it. Thank you for catching it. Or maybe I'll review my bill at the end of the month. And I go, I don't remember that charge. And you can pick up the phone and someone can deal with it for you. But for a minor, and the way these criminal groups work, they're able to abuse, their credit histories for years without it coming to light until they maybe try to rent their first apartment or apply for a student loan to go to college.
And one of the biggest depositories in this country for student information or children's information are schools.
Right. U.S. schools across the country serve roughly 50 million students, from very young ages up until 18. And in fact, they hold on to information from former students as well, right? So if you think about it, you can be in touch with your school to get your transcript. Well, they still have your records. And in many cases, under state laws, they're required to hold on to them for a long time. But I think the other thing people don't get is it's much more than just your algebra grades or your English grades, but it's a lot of, frankly, pretty sensitive information about your time in school.
And give us some examples of what may be sensitive in those files that kids may have in the school system, that parents can understand the gravity of this situation and how important it is for districts to protect their students' information.
Right. Well, in addition, of course, to all of the identity information of kids themselves and their parents, right, you're also going to have information about any medical issues or history, everything from allergies to much more severe medical conditions. You're going to see information about disciplinary records of students, including if they've had engagement with law enforcement, right? You're going to see have information about the immigration status of students, perhaps. Maybe information, sort of other sort of sensitive information that honestly for, individuals, they surely do not view it as sort of open to the public record.
Got it. And for those parents who may be concerned out there, how do you protect your children's identifying information if it's up to the school district? Should they call the school and say, what are you guys doing to safeguard this information to ensure my child's identity is not stolen?
So I think that's always a great idea to have that dialogue with the school, whether it's the principal or the teacher, but really to attend a school board meeting and ask school board members those questions. I also think it is prudent for parents to freeze the credit records of their children. And that's something that is available to all parents for free. There are 3 main credit, or maybe 4 main credit reporting agencies, and each of them allow parents for free to freeze a child's credit record. So therefore, it makes it much harder to abuse.
That's an excellent idea, and I never knew that option was out there. So what do? You reach out to
To
the
folks like Equifax or TransUnion are a couple of the large credit reporting agencies, and they have a process for parents to freeze the credit records of their minor children.
now, what if those kids, obviously those kids wouldn't be in the system as of yet. So are you putting them in the system to make sure, that no one else tampers with it?
That's exactly right. What you're doing is you're sort of claiming your child's credit record proactively before someone else can grab it. Of course, you and I, we don't choose to set up these records. This is something that those companies do on their own, I guess, for on our behalf
Mhm.
or on the behalf of credit card companies and banks to make sure if we're good credit risks or not. But we can proactively, parents can proactively go in, claim a record, and make sure that a child's identity information, their social security information, is locked. So if a criminal tries to open up an account in their child's name, it will be automatically denied with no further need for action from the parents or the students.